vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real war horse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock, 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian/African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Opala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tarh Paddy, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG and People of Ambazonia's position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASC. Health is Wealth, Health Education and Awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation Prayer, an intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our Freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. Church and Politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Imagined Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambertv.com/subscribe.
Fellow Ambazonians, Papa them and Mami them, Pikin them, especially our ARF for all the 13 counties, as Salobona, as Salobona, una can fairly day up. May I tell you something? If you curse me, I will sit down quiet. But if you curse Ambazonia, I will answer you. If you lie about me, I will sit down quiet. But if you lie about Ambazonia, I will answer you. And if you blow lie to Ambazonia people, to make them believe you for your lie, me, una go hear my voice. I want to tell una say, may I throw in this pineapple, say, no be na every injection it cure sick. Because if you not get epilepsy, I want to you epilepsy injection. You go be a foolish man for take that injection. Because if it kill you, if it give you sick, if it destroy you instead. Not be every injection, it be solution. Man is sick, some man just come say, una gichan, I don't bring injection. They just open and say, go chuka. No, they go ask you, say, now what is that? Now every injection, they cure man, any man, every man. You know what way they inside, they get for correspond for what way you need that. No, now every injection, they cure. Some people, they take injection because they want die. May we take time for these people the way they don't fail for diaspora. And they come for ground, they make stupid video them, audio them, they blow lie. May I tell you on a lie number one. No one country where they record and say international community, they never propose any solution to this problem more than say make La Republic meet up with for table negotiate. Now the only solution that way international community if you don't propose it, and La Republic they deny. Make someone not tell you say na international community one propose we referendum, then this man they deny, that one they deny because my name na 4 letters Sako they deny. Then nobody not tell on that lie. Nobody Nobody, no one person under this sun, he never proposed we referendum. Nobody. So this drunk way people, they don't drunk with referendum. I don't know who be tap that member with a drinker. No man never proposed we referendum. Nobody. If some man they don't propose we referendum, may them tell we. Nobody. To the best of my knowledge and all who now Ambazonia. If some man they way want tell you something, ask he say now who don't propose about we. Number two, where I want to tell now say this thing where they talk say referendum. May I tell you now the truth. Wait this interim government stand for. Now say we will not need the referendum because the reason why they give referendum for any people now when that people them they fight for independence. They want get independent. Then the country give them referendum, say make them vote so that if the people them for yes they win, then now they go carve that part of that country, it will become another country. So referendum they give now for people the way they no get country, but they want get country. Man we don't already get country. If you get power, another country get power like the Republic, it can pull we all like Ninga, and we don't decide say we don't take back our independence or we don't first get them. You not get forgive we referendum. When the referendum go decide whether we be independent because we already be independent. These people the way they propose referendum for themselves because no man never propose them for. May I tell you the real secret way they inside. They don't surrender. They don't stop the fight. We will fight because we don't restore we are independent. We don't take back we independent. We will be getting for 1960. We don't give ourselves the name Federal Republic of Ambazonia. We get our own country, the Southern Cameroons. We get our own government and we get our own flag and we get our own anthem. These people the way they ask for the referendum now, they don't deny that truth. They don't deny that fact. They talk say they don't agree now with La Republic say they be southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon. Where it be say they never ever be independent. If they don't be independent, the councillor. If they don't be a separate country, the councillor. They don't get their own flag. They don't get their own country again. They be part of La Republic. But make La Republic a United Nations can't give them referendum so that now that referendum vote now it go determine whether they go be independent or will not go be independent. Whether we go be independent or not go be independent. Now we are story that for Ambazonia, nobody will don't first be independent. Now which kind one now where they say may we just forget about everything. Make La Republic and United Nations give we referendum. Now that referendum will determine whether we go be Ambazonia or not, whether we go be Southern Cameroon or not, whether we go get independent or not. It don't make sense. We for this interim government we don't talk say if anybody if he say we will get for count if they want make some kind vote, we don't need vote where now it go determine whether we go be independent or not. Because that vote where it go determine whether some people them where they not be independent but they want be independent. That vote they call and say referendum. No, that kind of vote we need them because we don't already be independent. The kind of vote where the fifth vote now the one way they give man independent. If United Nations want consult we or say for no wait way we the talk wait we want time. We feel agree that kind of vote because we don't want vote where go cancel, it go can't cancel now our independent because we don't already get independent. We don't want vote where before one vote we get for sign book say we not be independent. We agree with La Republic say we be one country before they go give with that kind of vote. That one an injection where the cure man, the kill him. That's all. They tell we today say international community when we deny say we not be Federal Republic of Ambazonia, when we deny say we not be Southern Cameroon, when we deny say we not be independent country, the United Nations now they go help. Now that time they go come. Now that time they go come for can help we for give we referendum. You agree for that kind of person? Which can help that way? One help we get for deny we identity. We get for deny the truth. We get for deny the which way it be correct. We get for deny we flag. That kind of injection that they call and say na Kamto-mycin. Now that kind of injection where Kamto be one chuk for Canada where we talk say unless we throw away with flag, fit talk with we, fit receive with people there. Unless we deny with flag, we deny with anthem. These same people the way that they promote this idea now they don't talk say they be ready say make we deny with flag, make we deny with name, make we deny with self say will be a Southern Cameroon a separate country. We'll be ready for accept say will be part of La Republic, make they give we a referendum. Which kind help, which kind injection that, which kind help that way one help me, but I get for deny myself, deny the truth, deny which way correct, deny the history, deny the restoration will be get down before you go help me. I suspect you say that kind of injection that for kill me, no not for help me, not for kill me. That is the fact. So now the truth that we're supposed to get the help where we need them. No be now the help where some man want give we have situation, it not be like Sudan. We have situation, it not be like Eritrea or Biafra. These people now people that they inside another man country. Then this country never ever divide. So they figure the referendum for see whether they go fit carve them out as a different country. So man thief your thief my thing. The thief they can't gather we carry and put her inside La Republic. We don't restore our own country, we are own independent. So man can't tell me say no in a referendum go decide whether we go be independent. I say you will fight for both. You fight na say La Republic give you independent or you fight na for defend the independent way will be get under Edeli, under Frontier, under Joa, under the Southern Cameroon, from the British, from the United Nations. Now that independent you the defender or you fight right now say you wait La Republic and some godfather may they come from some place, may they can't give you some election where you go elect before you go know whether you be independent or you don't be independent or not. No, that one na corny. The one say make we disarm. The one say make we stop fight. The one say make we forget about the claim say we'll be independent. The one say make we forget about that until they go come give we vote. That vote will take about 10 years to come. That they will give we that vote in 10 years time. Whether they will give more, whether you and me will even be alive that time or whether vote will happen, whether it happen or not happen, the war don't stop. La Republic, their number one struggle now say make the war stop, make life go back to normal. And they don't talk, they push these people down before, make them talk say referendum. Because the day we una accept say La Republic and the United Nations they will agree for give una referendum, that means say fight don't finish and it will remain so for about 10 years. And anybody way it is anything way they decide this chapter go don't close. La Republic want close this chapter by all means. Some people them way sometimes they don't leak their own paper, they want help them. Me, I not go take any solution where it go talk say me, I get for deny, say me, I be Ambazonia, say we became independent, say we are a separate country, say we be annexed by La Republic. Any solution where talk say me, I go deny that truth before I go get help. I not go accept that. Let me say that help na injection where go kill me, no na injection where go make me a feel fine. Wonderful.
Fellow Amazonians, good evening and welcome. It's been a while and I'm very much aware. You've just heard the president and I'd like to bring back your memories for those of you who grew up in Southern Cameroon. We grew up as young people observing some of our friends and brothers at the time in the 80s and early 90s were lame. Some just could not work and the reason was because of a vaccine or purportedly it was a vaccine or injection. Some would say it was the polio vaccine that had caused some of these individuals to be lamed. Well, I'm not a medical practitioner or a scientific researcher to make affirmative statements, but those were some of the statements that were made. And even online, there are confirmation that there are certain injections that have made people mad or vaccines that have created more harm than the supposed good. Today, at the precipice of nullification that we find ourselves as the peoples of Southern Cameroons, the president has diagnosed a certain kind of injection and he would call it the Kamto-mycin. What is the Kamto-mycin is part of our discussion tonight. Some months ago, I would say over 2 years ago, Southern Cameroonians in Canada wanted to talk with Cameroonian political leader Kamto, Maurice Kamto. We were told that he won the election in neighboring La République de Cameroon and the elections were stolen from him. So some sympathizers in the Amazonian community in Canada decided to probably pay him a visit, but he gave to them a condition. And that condition was that they would have to give up their name, give up their flag, give up their essence for existing before he could entertain them. He wanted them to denounce the Amazonian flag before he could entertain them. It would appear that in the intricacies and complexities involved with this argument of a referendum, the referendum agenda is probably some injection that is obliging the peoples of Southern Cameroons to also give up their essence for existing. My question is why? Who is behind it? Are these influencers of a referendum being inspired by Kamto? Perhaps this could just be the best way of describing the referendum talk that is creating controversies, a wave of controversy among our communities, both in the diaspora and at the home front. We have people pushing it. Intelligence has it that Coopers had a late night meetings and some of our secret agents told us that they did not for themselves even understand what a referendum is and how to execute it. So it would also appear that somebody has sold an agenda or has brought an agenda and has won some, convinced some, betrayed some, and now they are looking for a way out of it. We have explained to our people in historical and legal terms why the referendum is a bad idea. And we are still waiting for them to bring their argument on the table. Unfortunately, a man we all esteem as a historian also loves it. That's Augustine, Pa Augustine Dangam. He loves this idea, I would say a lofty idea of a referendum, and he really does not own a clear explanation. I had an interview with Tibonachi all aware. He acknowledged that our historical and legal argument is correct, but the world does not care. Who cares if the world doesn't care? If Amazonians or Southern Cameroonians depended on what the war is caring about, they wouldn't have picked up weapons in the first place to preserve their integrity and national security. As we speak right now, I have with me in our studios Barrister, Honorable Barrister Frujon. So it's a man you all know, he's a vibrant figure. And he is going to be talking to me. I hope to have Barrister Ghana Valentine and Barrister Tim join us as we progress with this discussion. We will get into the depth of the Kamto-mycin and why Amazonians must stay clear from it. But before that, we want to announce to you officially that the 19th into the 22nd of this month of May is a national lockdown. Mami Wata lockdown. You are advised to stay home by the ANSC. We will provide to you their message in a few minutes, but you are advised during these days to stay home. The interim government is calling on everyone at the home front, from Munya to Mutengene, from Taambang to Taamafe, from Mezam to Manyu, from Ekiliwindi to, in fact, all across the national territory. Make proper arrangements to enjoy your freedom as you stay home. You will not be going out, not because somebody is trying to steal your freedom from you. It's because the interim government has intelligence that Yaoundé has escalated their agenda to impose 20th May celebrations in Amazonia. And by so doing, they have implanted military men in the forests and they have sent them in civilian outfit. They are going to be killing, beating, to destroy and to intimidate those who are not willing to participate in a day we consider a fraud in history. Fête nationale has no meaning. Cameroon must be bold enough to celebrate their Independence Day, which is the 1st of January. Amazonia has restored hers and they are celebrating it. Right after the break, I will bring Barrister Fru Johnson for us to begin the discussion. Stay tuned.
Our vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real war horse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian/African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tarh Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG and people of Ambazonia's position. The Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASC. Health is wealth. Health education and awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation prayer and intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. Church and politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Emerging Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambertv.com/subscribe.
Mr. Fru, good evening. Welcome. It's been a while. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I want to state that Amber TV is occupying the media landscape for, for, for the benefit of this war. Like the president just said, you're on your way to occupying the whole media landscape. Thank you very much for the work you do.
thank you very much. Before we even continue our discussion, I'd like to thank all those who participated during ABC Amber TV Day this same time last week. It was a great success so far. Lots of money from hard toiling Amazonian men and women is being collected. We appreciate the human and material support you are providing to make sure that the voice of Amazonia, the voice of the people, gets across into every nation of the world. Yes, Barrister Fro, we have a discussion to begin before we get into details as to why there should be a lockdown. Maybe we should start with Kamto-mycin. There's no other person who would have explained it better. Like a few days ago, I was reliably informed, I think about 2 days now, that one of Cooper, certain Mike Fusi, would accuse the interim government of denying international proposals that have been given, which is a referendum that the international community has proposed a referendum, and Dr. Sako is denying it with his interim government because they want to keep collecting money in the diaspora. And that provoked the audio and the name you saw the president gave, Kamto-mycin, which is what he calls this referendum agenda, this new wave of a referendum agenda. Maybe that's where you hope to start.
Yes, Paddy. I like to also add that in that same audio of Mike Fusi, I was also targeted. And listen, um, Kamto-mycin has been brought into this struggle by the coup plotters and enablers. They have coined in Kamto-mycin, and the first victim is an honorable statesman that I respected so much until now, and that is Bandangam Augustine. Just before we started this program, I was looking through my social media and I saw a flyer where Bandangam and Denise Temkeng and Tibo Nagi will be holding a town hall meeting on Kamto-mycin, which to me is what we call a referendum. Kamto-mycin actually means destroying the independence of the southern Cameroons and Bazonia. Kamto-mycin means let's forget about the plebiscite of 11 February. Let's forget about Resolution 1608 that voted for independence of the southern Cameroons. Let's forget about history. Let's forget about the violation of the so-called Federal Constitution of 1961 by La République du Cameroun in its Article 47. Let's forget about all that and come together under La République du Cameroun, and we'll be injected with Kamto-mycin. Oh my God. When you look at this whole thing, I think we have beaten it too much. We'll just allow them, let them play it out. The fact of the matter is our people, the people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, the Southern Cameroon's people, have never and will never be part of La République du Cameroun. And referendum has to do with a country, an independent country. Cameroon is an independent country. We were not part of Cameroon. If Cameroon wants to change its any constitutional provision in their constitution allows for a referendum. In their electoral law, there is provisions for a referendum. But we are not part of La République of Cameroon. We had independence in Southern Cameroon, and the only condition was that we should join La République du Cameroun. That joining never took place, Paddy, never took place. So we have not joined La République du Cameroun. We are not part of La République du Cameroun, and let nobody fool our people to jump into something that we never bargained for. A referendum is found in the constitutions of almost all the countries in the world. It just means that there are certain provisions of that country's constitution that cannot be touched until a referendum is organized. But in our case, we had our independence. That's why in Article 47 of the Federal Republic of Cameroon's constitution of 1961, they said in Article 47, no vote or referenda shall impede the federal nature of the country. Because they recognize that we came as an independent country. Even though we did not join them, we came as an independent country. And that's why that article was inserted in that constitution. But what did Ahidjo do? He violated it and organized a referendum. I hope everybody is listening. A 1972 referendum was because Ahidjo thought he had assimilated us, he has taken us, we are a conquered people, now we are part of them, and then they organized a referendum in violation of the constitution that was retroactively applied to us. Why do I say retroactively? It was a constitution voted and promulgated on the 1st of September 1961 when we were still under British rule. But Ahidjo tactfully applied it retroactively to us because, according to him, the invasion of the southern Cameroon on 30th of September that same year by Cameroon troops, gendarmes, and so on was a complete takeover of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. So Kamto-mycin, stay away, stay clear of Kamto-mycin. My dear Ambazonians, my dear country people. This man speaking here may not see the promised land, but the promised land will come to our children, to our children's children, and we'll have our sovereignty. We have independence, but we'll have our sovereignty, come rain, come sun. And there are only two ways we're looking at now. La Republique has to come to the table. We will force La Republique to come to the table. Paddy, I listened to an audio from General Ann Hannock, a very important audio made today by General Hannock. He talked about economic sabotage and asked the question, why are we still allowing communication with our enemies? No bridge, the bridge that links us with our enemies are still standing. Why are we allowing it? And that question is so vital to our liberation struggle. And I hope that our people got a message from General Hannock. I was filled of praise for him this morning when I listened to that audio. And I'm saying the only way that we will have our sovereignty is we will force La Republique to the negotiating table, or failing that, countries will recognize us. We are no longer interested in what Tibonage calls the international community. We're interested in stakeholders of the international community. Whatever he calls international community, that is his business. He said La Republique will never come to the table. We will force La Republique to the table. Come rain, come sun. That is my answer to Kamto-mycin. And let me talk about Kamto himself. He held a rally in Yaoundé last week.
That is where I wanted. That is actually what I wanted us to get into. I'd like you
Yes.
to. We're going to come back to Tibonage, their schemes and the meetings they're planning. Let's talk a little bit about why can we justify the president's understanding of this whole setup as a Kamto inspired agenda, and he would call it Kamto-mycin, an injection that he says in his own words, it is an injection that is not meant to inject a revival or reinvigoration within our spirit of fighting to liberate ourselves. It is with an objective to empower, to weaken us and make us lame. So let's go to Kamto. If you know the story, you want to tell Amazonians just how it happened. What happened? And Kamto told Amazonians, don't come with that flag if I have to attain to you. Go ahead, please.
That happened in Canada. When he paid a visit to Canada. At that time, he was going around saying he won the election, which I agree, he won. But Cameroon has never organized any free and fair election. So Kamto, just like Frundi, was crying over spilled milk. So he came to Canada, and Ambazonians with their flag, with dress in the blue and white and their flag, they came to see him. He said he will not receive anybody with that flag or those colors. It confirmed what his thinking is. I want to ask a question whether Kamto, is he a lawyer? They call him a professeur agrégé de droit. He should know better. He is also a politician of the La Republique extraction. The question that I ask is he a politician or a lawyer or both? Because as far as I know, every good lawyer is supposed to be a good politician. Kamto has maintained in his political ideology that Southern Cameroons are part and parcel of La Republique of Cameroon. The Southern Cameroons is part of their country. What is his evidence? Kamto has refused to look at the various enactments of the United Nations General Assembly from 1960 through 1961 to today. Kamto does not know Resolution 1608. Is that what he's trying to tell us, or is outright dishonesty? Kamto does not know that the Article 47 of the Federal Constitution was promulgated by La Republique because La Republique some way, somehow knew that the country that they were taking over was already independent. And the only thing they needed to do was to fulfill the conditions of joining, which they never did. Kamto does not know that. He held a rally in Yaoundé. And throughout that rally, the one thing that he said there was that the Southern Cameroons is part and parcel of La Republique of Cameroon. And you call that a lawyer? And you call him a politician? He should know better. Look.
Well, this is what I think, Barrister. I think that I do not think that Kamto is ignorant of the historicity and the legality of Southern Cameroons, but I think that he is being dishonest because of his quest for power, his huge appetite for power. Now, in his inclination to Kamto, if he would be truthful, France might not consider him a worthy replacement of Biya. Don't you think so too?
I have no opinion as far as La Republique is concerned. But the point I'm making, Paddy, is that Kamto went to the International Court of Justice against Nigeria. He was one of the lawyers for La Republique of Cameroon. He had some white people and himself, and they went there. And when some of our lawyers filed an interpleader, Kamto filed a counter with his people. The interpleader was not accepted just because at that time the International Criminal Court of Justice did not recognize us as a country. We were not members of any country. We were not members of the International Court of Justice in The Hague. When I talk of Court of Justice, you have to separate it from the International Criminal Court of Justice. No, I'm talking about the court, the Court of Justice on civil matters involving countries of the world. We were not yet according to that court, we were not a nation. That's the only reason why they set aside that interpleader. That interpleader brought to focus to the Nigerian people and to Kamto and his Cameroonians that the boundary that they are talking about, is a boundary between Nigeria and the Southern Cameroons. It has nothing to do with La Republique of Cameroon. And that is why the President of General Assembly, when they came to Yaoundé, he brought two maps according to the survey conducted by United Nations surveyors. They brought two maps, one for the Southern Cameroon, one for La République du Cameroon. We are going to revisit that law, that Green Treaty, and try to strike it away from us. It will not apply to us because we were not part of that charade.
Of that arrangement.
That arrangement.
Apparently, Kamto was a representative lawyer of Cameroon when we won the
Yes,
case in Banjul. When we won the case in
exactly.
Banjul. So,
In
so do
Banjul,
you
no,
want to explain?
it was John Gotti. It was John Gotti.
John Goody.
Yes,
Okay,
the
so
present
Kamto only represented them in the Bakassi
in the Bakassi
case.
affair. That's what I'm talking about.
Now we
And
need to
it is not
find out a little bit more. I'm
irresponsible.
told that he also represented them in the case that was lost in Banjul. Maybe you want to find out a little bit more about that. But now, that aside,
In
explain to Amazonians a little bit more your legal understanding and significance of this Banjul case that Amazonia actually won. How
look,
does it come to justify our sovereignty as a people that has been stolen?
The Banjul judgment, and I quote, was that the Southern Cameroons and Amazonians are a people and they have a right to self-determination. And they send the parties back to go and negotiate. These are people. And since then, La République took an adjournment for 6 months, which never materialized into anything. They lost in Banjul. Bandangam will explain that better to you because he was one of the parties in Banjul. I was a young lawyer in Douala and I knew very little about it. But the Bakassi case is what I am talking about, buddy. The Bakassi case, Kamto was very involved. But for Banjul, all I know is that Dion Gote was the person who led the delegation, Cameroon delegation, to the Human Rights Commission in Banjul. So what I'm saying is, Kamto has had this disdain for the Southern Cameroons right from when he did that case. He knows that the boundaries that the International Court of Justice was talking about were the boundaries between Nigeria and the Southern Cameroons and Bazonia. La République du Cameroon does not have any boundary except, I don't know where, with Nigeria. La République du Cameroon does not have any boundary with Nigeria. The Southern Cameroons is the
Now,
only
do you
country
mean that Republic of Cameroon does not have any boundary in the southern side with Nigeria? Because it would appear
doesn't.
in Maiduguri there's a
No,
boundary in.
that Maduguri. Listen to me, Paddy. Maduguri had voted at plebiscite and joined Nigeria and became a state in Nigeria. That is part of the Northern Cameroon. That is Northern Cameroon had gone. I am talking about the country, the Southern Cameroons and Bazonia. Nigeria does not have any boundary with La République du Cameroon. I stand to be corrected, and I'm still to see who will disagree with me.
Okay.
There is no boundary between
Now
Nigeria.
I'm trying to fixate your argument so that for those who have been taught the geography they have now, some of us were not opportune to get that geography of West Africa, West Cameroon in West Africa, and all of that. Now, you need to explain that so that we get it. There were two British Cameroons, the Northern British
Yes.
Cameroons and the
And the
Southern
Southern
British
Cameroon.
Cameroons.
Yes.
Now, La République du Cameroon never shared a boundary with Nigeria, but the two British Cameroon were border countries with Nigeria. Is that what you're trying to talk about?
That's correct. That's exactly correct. But the difference is the Northern Cameroon that the British had separated from the Southern Cameroons also took a plebiscite on the 11th of February and voted to join Nigeria, and they were now a state in Nigeria which could not be called into question. They have never protested that. Atiku, one of the candidates from the Nigerian president, comes from there. And I am saying that as far as the Bakassi Peninsula conflict is concerned, La République du Cameroon has no boundary with Nigeria. They only have a boundary with Nigeria in the north, where that part of the northern Cameroon joined.
So they actually have a boundary now with the Maiduguri, which is a
with
British.
The Maiduguri state of Maiduguri, which is part of Nigeria. Today, I'm talking about the conflict in Bakassi.
Yeah.
You trace it right
up. Don't have,
the Nigeria has no boundary with La République du Cameroon as far as it concerns the southern Cameroons and Bakassi. That's what I'm trying to explain, that there is no way. That is why the General Assembly of the United Nations president visited Cameroon with those two maps, one for the southern Cameroon and one for La République du Cameroon, to show that there are two distinct countries that came together, according to them, which there was no really any coming together, but at the time of the conflict, our issue has not been resolved. So they came with those two maps to show the map of the southern Cameroon and the map of La République du Cameroon.
Whatever the situation, the truth is the two countries attempted made an experiment that failed.
Yes. What I'm saying is that the Green Treaty, it's a charade. It only involves La République du Cameroon. It does not involve the southern Cameroon that were boundaries with Nigeria as far as the Bakassi Peninsula conflict is concerned. So we will revisit that file. We will revisit it if Cameroon attempts to claim any part of Bakassi. You know, when there's no case, you don't look for a case. Yeah. If they attempt to say, oh, the Green Treaty gives us Bakassi and so on, we will revisit the International Court of Justice to rectify, so that La République du Cameroon will have nothing to tell Nigeria or to tell us about what happens in Bakassi. Am I making some sense?
You see, this discussion is quite instrumental because we've gotten to a point where intellectual bullies are wanting to impose or tell us that for us to examine the legality of this is a crime and that the world is disinclined. In fact, I quote the words of Sabotage. He says, the world doesn't care. All of this narrative that they are forcing into the minds of our people is in an attempt to probably psychologically manipulate and weaken our collective engagement to fight. It's quite important. What would you be telling Amazonians at this time when what stands as their main argument is being used as an instrument against them by intellectuals, including Amazonian-born intellectuals?
Listen, I am very surprised. I'm very surprised with the position taken by our venerated statesman, Bandangam. Because if among all the people, Bandangam would have understood this issue of referendum better than even Tibunagi, who is a foreigner, or even the young man there from Addis Ababa called Atem King Dennis. Atem King Dennis had started this vendetta about referendum right from when we were still working together before he became a coup plotter and an enabler. The only way that we will have anything is when we are in control of our electoral processes. And if La République du Cameroon has anything to propose, anything, because I know La République has not proposed a referendum. I know nobody in the international community has proposed anything like a referendum. You heard the president. Where is this coming from? It's coming from enablers. The Kamto-mycin. They are taking the playbook of Kamto-mycin, which started in, it didn't start in Canada, but he accentuated it in Canada when our people went to see him. He is the number one enemy of the people of the Southern Cameroon and Bazonia, including Bia. That makes the two of them. But if you look at it very carefully, Bia is already a zombie, and Kamto now has replaced him as the active enemy of our people. Otherwise, why would he declare in a rally that the Southern Cameroon is part of La République du Cameroon, that he will never accept any state of Ambazonia in the Southern Cameroon? Who is he? Let him win election in La République du Cameroon first before he can talk. La République du Cameroon has never organized any free and fair election. So Kamto should go and rethink. But we are not interested in what he does in La République du Cameroon. All I'm saying is that his principles have been taken by the coup plotters of Ambazonia, along with their enablers, and they are parading town halls around the world to talk about referendum. Referendum that we are part of which country for them to organize a referendum. They stole our sovereignty on the 30th of September. They brought in troops, occupied our territory. By the time we got up on the 1st of October to celebrate independence, we were celebrating independence as a captured people. Because the British brought down the Union Jack and handed it to Ahidjo. Why? That is not the role of the British. The British were told to prepare us for independence. Like the French were told to prepare La République for independence. La République, the French gave La République independence, even though it's some kind of independence. I don't know what it is. But the British didn't give it to us. They took our sovereignty, which is the flag, and gave it to Ahidjo. That is 62 years ago. This generation has decided that we will recover our country. We had our independence. We were people, a self-governing people before becoming independent. We became independent in 1961, October 1st, as stipulated in Resolution 1608 of 21st April 1961. We will not accept any election on our territory where we are not in control of the electoral processes. Because any kind of election will mean that Cameroon will bring its electorate to come and conduct an election on our territory. That because enablers are saying that we are part and parcel of that. This is a one Cameroon agenda that has been paraded by these enablers. And they took one of us as a victim, and that's Pandangam.
I do not think that they are taking. I don't think that only Pandangam is a victim. Should we say victims? Perhaps
he has been injected.
Perhaps he's tired.
He has been injected.
You have Professor Carson Anyangwe, who is also an intellectual, would have to subscribe with this ideology. And I am currently working on two of Carson Anyangwe's books. If you read those books, his idea of a referendum today is just a contradiction of what he wrote some days ago. So I'm beginning to ask, who bewitched you? What happened? You see, so but this we've gone through this discussion over and over again. The president has said a lot of audios. I'm going to play a couple of them before we leave here. But this is the point. This is what I think I want us to talk about right now, Barrister Fu. We have a people. This is actually a psychological warfare. It is a mind game. And we have a people that are listening to many voices. At the end of the day, they're looking forward to our voices to know what we think, why we think what we think. We've sufficiently brought a debate. But how would you encourage those watching us at the home front, particularly, and I think they are the targets right here, because you hear Tibo Nach is saying the people who are suffering the brunt of the war should decide their future. You see, trying to, first of all, separate the umbilical cord, which is the diasporic community, and the home front. You know, it has always been an attempt to separate the diaspora, that is the backbone of the movement, with the home front. That's the first suspicious way, the mechanism they are employing. But what will you tell the people at the home front right now to continue to build their momentum and resilience?
Yes, before I come to that, let me say that Carson Anyangwe is not a victim. He had been an enabler since he lost election to Dr. Sako. He has been an enabler since his wife benefited from the largesse of La République du Cameroon as being appointed the director of World Health Organization in East Africa. But I will tell my people this. The lava has started. Don't listen to any story about Kamto-mycin. That is referendum. We are not part and parcel of La République du Cameroon. We have never been. We will bring La République du Cameroon to the table by force. The lava is going to flow. I'm telling my country people, get ready for the lava that is flowing, and it will flow even more. I take this opportunity to congratulate the Amazonian Restoration Forces on the ground, who are doing a marvelous job preparing for the lava. The lava will flow, and we will go after La République du Cameroon in every aspect of life. Economic sabotage, the infrastructural sabotage. We will sabotage all the infrastructure of La République du Cameroon on our territory. They are occupiers. They are illegal on our territory. They cannot last on our territory, and they will be forced to come to the table. If they don't come to the table, we are not craving for them to come to the table. If they don't come to the table, we will erect a wall that will be worse than the wall between North and South Korea. And La République du Cameroon will know that we're serious. Our people should be resolute. They don't accept any kind of vote they call referendum or anything, because it will be conducted by ELECAM and we will lose. And that means that we have given up our independence. We have given up Resolution 1608. We have given up the vote that you took on 11th of February. We have given all that up. We have given our country. We are surrendering to La République du Cameroon to accept any kind of referendum vote on our territory. The United Nations does not organize elections. They only supervise. If you accept a referendum, meaning that the United Nations will come only to supervise, La République will use ELECAM, and the ELECAM will use the electoral registrar and rig the whole damn thing, and we will lose. And in the referendum, it's a law. When the results are binding on everybody. But on a plebiscite, it's an opinion that the United Nations may want to seek our opinion. And we will not accept any kind of vote, even from the United Nations, where we do not control the electoral processes. They will only come to supervise the election and to finance whatever is going on so that they can obtain the results that were supposed to be obtained. With La Republic of Cameroon, it means we will surrender that we didn't have independence. We will denounce the vote that the General Assembly gave us in 1961, 21st of April, 1961, in Resolution 1608. How is that possible? Like the president asked, where is this thing about the referendum coming? It is Kamto-mycin, developed and well planned by enablers and coup plotters to make sure that we become part and parcel of La Republic of Cameroon and that we are one Cameroon.
Yeah, and the technique is first of all to undermine our logical reasoning and to deny us of our strong argument and then to tell us that the world doesn't care. I've listened to all the
And
different
they have a definite plan, Paddy. They have a definite plan because
yeah.
Tibu Nagi came and said we should forget about our history. We should only look ahead. We should not look at the rear mirror. Look, Tibu Nagi is a human being. You should know that your future, your history determines your future. If you didn't go to school and look back on your degrees that you had, how could you have a bright future? How can he make such a stupid statement on the world's platform on ABC Amber TV that's watched by the whole world? But that is his opinion. I'm not faulting him. He's going ahead to have a town hall with Bandangam and Dennis Atemkeng. Let them be my guests. But that referendum will not take place on our territory. Our people are ready to fight to the last man standing. And lava will flow. This year is a year of acceleration. The lava will flow, and let me see how La Republic will refuse to come to the table. Every war in the world has ended up on the table. La Republic is not going to be an exception because it's La Republic. They themselves are collapsing. They are collapsing. But I don't care. If they want to kill themselves, that's their business. But as far as Ambazonia is concerned, we'll be standing strong. Our people should get ready for what is to come in 2023, 2024, if that's what it takes.
You see, I want us to get into an important side of what is happening now in Ambazonia or in La Republique du Cameroon, and that directly affects Ambazonia. We've seen Ambazonians being targeted in Douala. The other day, one was killed and dumped in River Wuri. We've seen an Ambazonian lady raped to death in Boya. And the fingers are all pointing to one person. And then you find out that while others are trying to tell our people that they should give up the flag, give up the argument that we are sovereign, we have enablers like Capo Daniel actually coming to claim to speak for Ambazonia, but saying that he is the mastermind of the killing of a journalist just so that they can sabotage the struggle. That's unfortunate, Brester. What do you think?
There's ample evidence that the journalist in Bamenda, who happens to be my countryman, was killed by La Republique du Cameroon. Capo Daniel is there to take the bad and the ugly of La Republique du Cameroon, to take responsibility for something that he doesn't know who did it. But
and I think he did the same during the mountain race in Boya.
Exactly. Look, La Republique of Cameroon citizens are becoming very, very, very dangerous to our people. In Yaoundé, an Ambazonian urinated on an empty piece of land and he was killed by the owner of that land and his family. in Douala, and an Amazonian was killed in circumstances that are still unclear to us. In Boya, an Amazonian woman was raped to death. We are an endangered species right now, but God willing, our Amazonian restoration forces are standing and standing tall. The lava will flow. I am sending this message to all our structures on the ground, the counties and the LGAs. This question of self-defense is over. We are going to go after La République du Cameroon on our territory. We must purge them out of our territory. Take this. Those counties that are sleeping. I'm thinking about Momo. I'm thinking about Mezam. I'm thinking about others who are sleeping. Get out of sleep. Get out of sleep, because this is a question of do or die. La République has walked away from the Swiss talks. La République is now using our people, including our statesman Pandangam, to sit and talk about a referendum whom nobody has proposed. This is a man that I respected. His views are so very well. I respect his views, but overnight he has been blinded. He will not listen to any other intellectual argument. Only the fact that he will fight for referendum, and he's going on a town hall with a man who has taken a referendum like his signature tune, Tibunash, and of course Denis Atinken, who has been an enabler since they connived to destroy the interim government. They are holding a town hall to say what? They can hold 100 town halls for all we care. My people, we have to fight and fight ourselves out of this quagmire. We have to take La République and send them back packing. Like General Hannock said this morning, why are bridges still linking us to La République du Cameroon? That question must be answered by our people on the ground. The restoration forces, the LGAs, and the counties, and of course the federal government. So that is, Paddy will have no other choice. There's no other choice. There will be no, read my lips, there will be no referendum on the territory of the Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. Again, there will be no referendum. I don't care what Pandangam thinks. There will be no referendum on the territory of the Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. If La République has anything to propose to us, let them come to the table. But they have not proposed a referendum. The United Nations has proposed nothing. I think the United Nations is waiting to come at the end. I don't know what end they are waiting. They waited for an end in Somaliland. But Somaliland is surviving without the United Nations, without recognition from anybody, except Taiwan. What are we talking about? We will survive. We'll fight our way. La République will leave our territory. Look, let's act now before La République starts collapsing and taking us along with it to the abyss. We should act right now. And I want to assure our restoration forces on the ground and everybody that the federal government is ready to let the lava flow. Thank you, Paddy.
Yeah, I like the fact that you say, let's act now. And we're getting to that point of action. This week, coming this week, by the 19th into the 22nd, is a national lockdown.
Correct.
Intelligence has it that Cameroon has escalated whatever they are doing, and they want the 20th May to be celebrated across our national territory at all costs, without necessarily telling you what the interim government or the ANSC is planning to do. I just would want to ask you a few questions in this delight. We're planning for this lockdown. We don't want 20th May. Why is 20th May a taboo in the current Ambazonia that we speak?
It is the day that La Republique finally assimilated us. They came to capture us on the 30th of September 1961. And in 1972, 20th May, they conducted a fake election called a referendum, which our people are still fighting, are now talking about it, and finally claimed that we were part of them. They assimilated us into their system by walking away from the union that was envisaged by United Nations General Assembly in its paragraph 5 of 1608 resolution. So this day is a dark day for the Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia. Nobody, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, of course, which is our country Sunday, is a complete lockdown. And if you have to go to church on Sunday, that's good, but go in black. You are mourning. You are mourning for the day that you were taken as slaves. And you are still fighting to free yourself. We are still fighting for freedom. You go to church and come back home. There is nothing, no foul, nobody should show up in any kind of compromising place, because the Ambazonia Restoration Forces are on high alert. Our people must respect the national lockdown because it's a day of mourning for us. That is my answer. Nobody should go out from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Sunday, you can go to church. We are Christians by nature. When you go to church, pray for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons. That day, that church day is the 21st, I think. Saturday is the 20th May, which is the day that we were taken as slaves, but we refused to become slaves. La Republique separated from us from a de facto union. It was not a de jure union because they did not respect the provisions of Resolution 1608 in its paragraph 5. So that there was no real legal union between us. But even then, they violated the very important article of that so-called Federal Republic of Cameroon's constitution, in its Article 47, which says no election or referenda. No elections or referenda shall impede the federal nature of this constitution. And they violated it outrightly and openly, and tricked our people to vote along with all of La République de Cameroon. An issue that does not inform, it does not concern the other other parts of Cameroon. And with their 80% as to our 20%, they were able to totally assimilate us. It's a day of mourning, Paddy.
It was bad that they would have to be involved. We have belabored that point. I would say more than enough. I'm just watching in one forum right now. I have Jude Fongam is saying that if you were observing the ground, you realize that lockdowns or ghost towns are no longer necessary. I'm about to ask him what is necessary. What do you have to say about that?
Who the hell is Jude
That's what
Fonga?
Fonga has to say.
Who the hell is Jude Fonga?
Jude Fongang says national lockdowns are no longer necessary. That's what I'm asking you. So by insinuation, he's talking about us bothering our people. I guess that's what he wants to insinuate.
The question is, who is Jude Fonga? Before I answer that question, I need to know, is he an Ambazonian?
That's a powerful question right there.
And what right has he to speak for us? Does he know that we are at war? Does he know that our people are suffering because of La République du Cameroon? Does he know that our people are being killed on a daily basis across La République du Cameroon? They are killing our people in Yaoundé, killing our people in Douala, killing our people in Ebolova, killing our people everywhere. And we are calling on our people to start coming home. I don't even know what you are doing there.
You see, Barrister Fro, when you talk about calling the people coming home, someone might just think, okay, we are trying to just dictate to some people or the people or our people. I want to get this video, which is very, very, very heartbreaking, of a pathetic situation that happened recently by a renowned, I would say, voice within La République du Cameroon. And even as we speak, nothing has been done to this individual. You know, abroad where we are now, how abuse, verbal abuse, is taken so seriously. But this is a person. It's unfortunate that this video is in French, and you would have watched it. Many would have watched it. This is someone who will take his time for close to 3 minutes just to insult the people of Amazonia. Let's have a recap of this. And when we come back, we'll analyze every little bit of what he was saying. Just listen.
J'ai fait un constat depuis un certain temps que quand vous entrez dans un taxi, d'abord, premièrement, les taximans, certains taximans sont d'abord trop sales, ils dégagent de la mauvaise odeur. En plus de cela, les autres passagers en commun sont très sales. La plupart, ce sont les femmes. Et beaucoup plus les femmes et les filles qui sortent du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Donc, de renavant, moi, je vais agir comme un animal parce qu'il est inadmissible que tu entres dans un taxi. Non seulement la femme, elle est trop sale, elle dégage une mauvaise haleine. L'hygiène corporelle n'est pas respectée. C'est comme ça qu'elle pose ses mains sur votre vêtement n'importe comment. Donc, de renavant, il faudrait qu'on tire la sonnette d'alarme. Parce que le taxi, c'est un lieu qui doit être propre. C'est un lieu où on doit transporter. Le taximan doit même choisir le type de client qu'il doit transporter dans son véhicule. Parce que ce n'est pas le tout venant. Les gens ne vont pas venir saturer Yaoundé. Ça devient une promiscuité absolue. Si vous n'avez rien à faire là, vous rentrez. Hein, vous allez travailler les champs au village. C'est vrai, on dit qu'il y a la guerre là-bas, mais c'est vous-même qui avez organisé cela. Donc assumez les conséquences. Ne venez pas déranger les gens. Parce que tout à l'heure, avant de revenir là à la maison, là, vraiment, j'ai souffert. J'étais obligé d'être vraiment... Je sais pas, bizarre, parce que les gens te posent les mains dessus comme ça, c'est quoi ça? Hein? Avec le chlamydia qui a pignon sur rue, et les IST, la gonocoxie, avec la sueur des gens, les menstrues des femmes, elles déposent ça partout là. Ça dégage. Hein? Et le taximan lui-même, quand il sourit un peu comme ça, tu vois comment son haleine dégage comme les WC traditionnels. Là, on ne peut pas quand même aussi continuer à être dans un pays où tout le monde... C'est quoi ça? Donc vraiment, il faudrait que ces taximens-là, c'est pas, je ne vous manque pas de respect, mais c'est tout simplement un coup de gueule que j'adresse à votre endroit. Hein. Vraiment, quand même. C'est quoi ça? Et les femmes même aussi, les hommes même. Comment ta femme peut avoir les aisselles, c'est-à-dire que les poils sont déjà, je ne sais pas, comme une touffe d'herbe. Tu ne demandes pas d'aller raser ça. Le rasoir Bic, c'est 100 francs. Toi-même, tu fais ça à sa place. Et tu achètes des citrons, tu essaies d'imbiber ça dessus. Hein? Vous couchez avec des femmes comme ça, vous sucez même les bouches avec des pourris dents comme ça. Mais dis donc, oh là là, mon Dieu. Il faut voir quand celle-là ricane. Tu vois une belle fille, elle est brune. Mais quand elle ouvre la bouche, qu'elle rit, c'est comme le hérisson là. C'est pourri comme les caramels brûlés. Oh, avec l'arrivée des Chinois, il y a même les pâtes dentifrice frélatées là. Vous ne devez même plus être sale dans ces pays. Hein? Il y a des savons antiseptiques là qu'on vend en 100 francs partout. Là, achetez-les et utilisez-les. Hein? Le citron, ça détruit tout ça. Hein? Quand ça ne va pas, toi-même l'homme, tu prends la brosse à dents, tu mets un peu de dentifrice, tu brosses ta femme. Hein? C'est comme ça que vous dormez sur des draps qui... Mais attends, même si on vous jette dans un océan, même les poissons vont...
Now the end part, I wanted to interrupt the end part because I want you people to listen to what he said at the end part. Listen to it.
Refusez de vous manger parce que vous êtes trop crasseux. Et c'est beaucoup plus les gens du Noun, les filles du Noun et ceux du Nord-Ouest et du Sud-Ouest. Ils viennent envahir Yaoundé comme ça là. Tout le monde veut dire qu'il est à Yaoundé. On est venu chercher la vie à Yaoundé. Mais entretenez-vous. Tu vois une femme, elle attache.
So he was very specific. Even where they call the known, you have just the Bamendas who live there. The Momos, they are working, they're doing farm agriculture. So this is what our people, or what we as a people have been going through for decades. The audacity that this young man had to talk about Amazonians with using such demeaning words is what baffles me, Pastor Fu. Please go ahead.
Let me tell you about that man. He is Kamto's militant. He was arrested and locked up in Kondenge when Kamto and others were in Kondenge. He is Kamto's militant. How many of our people are in Yaoundé that this guy will decide to ridicule the few of our people who are in Yaoundé? Who declared war on who? Was it not their papa, the Zumbi now, who is there, who declared war on us? Does this man even know
According
what he's
to
talking
him,
about?
we are the ones who organized the war. So that's his argument.
That is what the idiot is saying. And he see himself clean. Look, I like the answer that was given by Willie de Paris. You didn't play that part. Willie de Paris answered him. Look, if you go to Yaoundé and Douala, you will see the worst taxis in this world, driven by La Republique citizens. You go to Bamenda or Victoria or Kumba, you'll see how clean the town is, first of all, to start. The towns. You'll see how the taxis are arranged. You cannot see any kind of ugly taxi on our roads. And this idiot will sit and say we have come to envahir Yaoundé. Who are those? How many of our people are really in Yaoundé to deserve this kind of abuse from an idiot on the street? That is a man that's a Kamto's frontline militant who was in prison with him. And he can afford to talk like that about us. Well, I'm not going to say anything to him because what he is saying, he's passing a message from the authorities of his country in Yaoundé. He can say that and get away with it because he's saying it against IDPs, people who have run away from war and found themselves in their territory. A war that they brought upon us. If you look at it carefully,
this kind of message, Barrister Fru, this is very important and instrumental for us to talk about it and talk about it in the strictest ways possible because it conveys a strategic message to those who are still romancing and fellowshipping with La République du Cameroon. We have Nelson Ochiba here, and he's interested to make a comment on this
Yes.
issue. And I think I would like him to. Ochiba, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, Mr. Paddy, can you get me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to appreciate Barrister Fru Johnson for always making it possible to come and educate our people. And that we have to continue until we get to Goya. Yes, I just want to make a comment about the video you played there. It's Sebastian Epala. And first, I would like to because I understand that not all of our people back home, our fathers and mothers, they understand French. So he is trying to say that, let me put it in pidgin. That man, a journalist for Francophone, he talks Northwest Garden and Southwest Garden, there is smell. There is smell plenty. Even taxi people, the way they come up when are Anglophone, there is smell. They talk say why when I come out, when I live on a country, on a northwest and southwest, when I come back for Yaoundé, now I make places that they smell. Say me when I go back for when I places them, they go begin work for farm. Go begin to work now for farm. So me that me when I no can shit like for Yaoundé, be like when I eat browsing when I dey for inside township. Now the message we is there for here, I don't see plenty people that they condemn this man for here. Man like me, I don't see any fault for what he talk. The reason I say what it. Now just person way he gather the courage, he can't talk what way all francophones they think about we British Southern Cameroonians, they think about Anglophones them. Now so they talk. When family go call Honorable Whipper, he said the 2 clips of sugar. L'Afrique, they call with people that say na cockroaches, na dogs them. They call we say les gens à gauche, les biafrais. They travel university girls them for down. They call we say Anglophones them. They do all those kind of things where they talk. Emma Bazzi talk say fruity na enemy dans la maison. They say they don't want us. So it just shown us it. All francophone them, la Republic citizens them. They don't do. They look us like they are slaves. They look us like animals. Which way it matter for them now with natural resources them. Now with natural resources them. And I saw it go. Then you see, for example, now why that you see, even you see that one they call and say they be their prime minister or who they John Good and the rest. You know if it talk in front of francophone people. At times you even go for Yaoundé, they even go talk about some chieftaincy issue. They tell you say allez faire ça chez vous à Pameda. They talk say people go for Pameda, no be that they are own. So this francophone them now so they see us. See Kamto for example, they can't tell with people where they wear clothes. One person be proud for wear clothes when they uniform, blue and white, like how we like Republic wear green, red, yellow. Kamto talk say no more people that undress, me they move clothes, empty skin. They talk before they can't see you. So, you see these people that when from the launch party they kill 6 people, they kill with people that destroy umbrella, destroy everything. But when Kamto they go match, they use a rubber bullet them for them, Michel Jockey them and the rest. When I don't see they kill how many of them. How many francophone in day for inside for Pameda prison or for Boya prison where they don't carry them for Yaoundé, they can't bring them for it, or they don't carry them for Marawa, can't bring them for it. They can't carry all people them for we play, carry and go down for their side. Every day for evening, all money where they sell them for Boya, for Atlantic zone, they carry and go put them for Wala for Littoral. Every evening, all money where they sell them for which for Atlantic zone, for carry and go put them for Baptism. These people they don't look us like some people. With resources where they can't take and I can't go take they go they borrow money for it, they do all those kind of things. So, me una not only put the blame for these journalists, they blame go for everybody. They say I assimilate all. You know be one assimilate person when you say it be of equal state to you. Person when you say it get human right, human dignity and all those kind of things. That whether you did hear even Cabral B and then Banki the king or Nawuzo. They talk to people, they are going to kill all people the way they did for Northwest and for Southwest. Tell me they kill, me they throw a bomb. They put all people for down. So these people, they not like us. Now what I would tell with Papa and with Mommy, they say, we don't tire, we're going to go back for our own country. For country, you go sleep, you don't lock your door because play the hot, no not you enter for your house. A country where you know the kill some people and they might treat you. A country where you know what we go retirement, then you want to the bribe before they tell you say you go do this and whatsoever. A country where person will take you, reject you, throw you for inside court. But when it comes to the resources, now you come for up, they can't carry for the thing and say you want at the chop and so. How many barrels them, how many dams them where they run the pillar for their places them? They come destroy with everything they want will be better. So I down a plenty, make any Amazonia people hold am strong. I mean la Republic they go back for a country. We know just take this problem there. Make any man respect a boundary. Their boundary end for play when they begin their independence on the 1st of January 1960. And they don't ratify the African Union Constitutive Article 4B for touching their boundary remain as so. So when they go back for their country, and that I want to plenty.
Thank you to my brother. So I couldn't have said any better than that, and I appreciate the fact that he interpreted what this guy was saying. And the truth be said, here's the truth: a lot of our people, Barrister Fru, understand French and English, even the mothers in the village. So this is an insult that has definitely entered the core. But it boils down to one thing we've been saying here this evening: a people who have been so intimidated and have been told that, listen, your freedom is not possible. So some of them have just accepted that their freedom is not possible and they are living in the bondage with joy. I think that's the problem. That's the point.
Yep. Whether their freedom is not important to La République du Cameroon, it's not the business of La République du Cameroon. Everybody is born free in this world until another human being puts chains on that person. We refuse to accept chains from La République du Cameroon. Like I said, let the lava flow and let La République start running from now. We are not going to take any more rubbish. And I'm calling on our people to start coming home. Because what that journalist said was a message that is coming from La République du Cameroon governing authorities. They are not saying what that young man said. That man has barely passed their message.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm calling on our people to start coming home. Like, let me also say this. We of the interim government will recognize the fact that our people are also civil servants in La République du Cameroon by circumstances. They have been working as slaves for these people, being treated like slaves and paid very little. But they had to survive and their families have to survive. Let nobody take our people for granted just because they are working and living in their city. That negotiation will take place. If it doesn't take place, it will take place in the International Court of Justice, where all the civil servants of Ambazonia extraction will be sent back to Ambazonia with all their benefits paid into the Ambazonian treasury.
Yeah, for us to conclude this conversation,
we will protect our own. We will protect our own to the ends of the earth. And anybody who thinks that he can kill an Ambazonian in Yaoundé or Douala and get free, one time or the other, we will come after you in your own country. Because we cannot accept any kind of genocide like we here living in America, we are protected by the laws of this country. La Republic has no laws to protect even Ambazonians. Like Uchiba said, You captured our people, their prisons and detention centers that you have created in our territory. You carry them across your country and lock them up in your country. We understand. We will free every one of them by force or by negotiation.
Yeah, we have a message here from the ANSC, and after that, we'll come to conclude this program. Stay tuned.
Today, na the 13th of May 2023, and this one, na the spokesman for the ANSC. Fellow Ambazonians, after consultation with the civil society and the ARS on the issue of the banned 20th May activities for inside Ambazonia, the ANSC and your interim government will be headed by His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ekomesako will be decide say the territory for Ambazonia will be shut down between the 19th and the 22nd of May. Make I repeat, the decision will be arrive at. Now say the territory of Ambazonia will be shut down between the 19th and the 22nd of May. As Ambazonians, we all understand, say no public holiday no day for inside Ambazonia like the 20th of May. Make no Ambazonia no follow the instruction of the colonialists for Yaoundé, for come out for carry any activity in whatever form on that particular 20th of May. So between the 19th and the 22nd, I repeat once more, make each and every Ambazonian for home front make it observe the days for inside a house quietly. Now, we don't equally get information say the Minister for Youth and Civil Education from La Republique, they illegally crisscross our territory. They try for launch 20th May activities. The ANSC and your interim government, they call each and every Ambazonian and say, make una shun this minister. Make nobody no come out for receiving. Activities where they try for carry them out inside Ambazonia right now, they be illegal. And it put with citizens at risk because we don't understand. Say they don't station most of their terrorism for inside the bushes for shoot and kill with civilians at will. So now with this in mind, where the ANSC call all LGS and counties, say make we consult with ARFs and with civil society. And if it come to a realization, say, the terrorism from La Republique or the colonialism, they want to try for launch any sort of pre-20th May activities for inside any of the LGA or counties. Would it give that right for the LGA or the county for stop them in their tracks by calling for a lockdown even before the 19th? So each LGA and county will notice them say they want launch any sort of pre-20th May activities. They get that right for shut down that particular environment even before the 19th, I repeat. So right now, make with civilians and take special note and they stay indoors if they hear any such announcements from their counties. We ask for civilians to take care of the ARFs and we equally ask for ARFs and for take care of the civilians. Together, we not gonna be deterred. Make we not forget, say La Republique, it always come these days around for can shoot. Kill with civilians, and the reason why they always do all that now for deter we, for stop we, make we not attend we go when at the total liberation for Ambazonia we go continue until we get that nothing no go stop we. Short live the revolution, long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
Maybe you get a comment. You have a comment there, Pastor Fru, and we'll get to a point.
I have no comment, but I have an issue from our refugees that I needed us to take 2 minutes and talk about.
Please go ahead.
It has come to my knowledge as a lawyer for this struggle that La Republique of Cameroon is crossing the boundaries into Nigeria, particularly in Calabar, and capturing our refugees and taking them back to Yaoundé. We have had this report coming to us from various Ambazonians that are working underground, and they are giving us this information. Our sister O'Malley is doing a marvelous job. I don't know where she is, but she's doing a marvelous job. and others, and they are giving us that information. I want to take this opportunity to thank the governors of Cross River, of Akwabom, and all the other states like Taraba, where our people are refugees, for taking care of our refugees and protecting them and making sure that they are protected under international law. But we want to also indicate to them that they need to help us curb this canker worm of La République du Cameroon violating international boundaries between Nigeria and Ambazonia and entering into Nigeria to capture our people who are refugees in Nigeria. This is a very troubling situation, and that is why I thought that we should at least let the Nigerian authorities know that Cameroon is violating the international boundaries, entering into their territory, and torturing and taking our refugees who are there because they ran away from the war that was brought upon us by La République du Cameroon, who are there because the SDO of Manu had issued a communique expelling our people, telling our people to leave their villages or they'll be treated like terrorists. And that's why our people are refugees in Nigeria and other neighboring countries. We call on our friends, our neighboring countries who are friends, to protect our people from this genocidal regime that is in Yaoundé. That is the news. That is what I wanted to bring to focus, Paddy. I think we will have to talk about that in your next show.
Yeah, we will need to. This is quite important, and that's the strategy. It's all an attempt to ensure what they call normalcy. That's all of their strategy. They want to. They're going to bribe some of them. They are bribing even the IDPs in Yaoundé. They're bribing even the ones in the home front. So it's the Cameroon has two weapons that they use very regularly. Number one is to intimidate you with their guns, manipulate you, and if these two fail, you're not taking an arm to defend yourself like the Ambazonian Restoration Forces are doing, you're destroyed or killed. That's their annihilation
Yeah,
agenda.
but there is a problem of international law here. There is a problem of international law for a military people to cross the boundary and enter another country. It's a violation of international law to go
You
and
see, this is where
especially
it is technical, Barrister Fro, because Nigeria is permitting. You saw at one time in the border, in another country violating the international borders will be a serious. So it would appear the Buhari administration. Let's hope to see the future of Nigeria to see if this will be enforced and changed. The Buhari administration has a strange border arrangement that's in contravention of their national laws. First of all, there is no where they are interfering is not a border between La République du Cameroon and Nigeria. It's between Southern Cameroon and Nigeria. But there's a
yes,
strange relationship between the forces of occupation of Cameroon and Nigeria along the border towns. This is why I think perhaps it should be the interim government agenda to now see how they can. Let's see if Nigeria will permit Cameroon to come from Nigeria and fight us if we take a hold of the border towns. And they have kind of created an instability in some of the border towns so it can provoke Nigeria to attack us. Because Nigeria really doesn't have a right to take arms against us once the boundary is concerned. So if we will factor out as a government on how to possess or to take and to keep land in the border, we may solve some of this problem of indiscriminate acts against our people. Don't you think so?
but I also think that the UNHCR has a duty to protect refugees around the world. those refugees in Nigeria are under the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR. And I'm calling on the UNHCR in Nigeria to protect our people, to ensure that our people are safe wherever they are in those refugee camps. That is exactly it. Way and beyond what Nigeria is doing. Nigeria is violating international law anytime they wish and when they want. The proof is in what they did to Ayuk Tabe and others from Ayuk Tabe and 9 others, and the 37 from Tarapa State and the 5 from Calabar that were illegally deported to Yaoundé in violation of the 1951 law on the protection of refugees and asylum seekers. They violated it. The judgment that the case that we did in Abuja, along with, my colleague in Lagos, Femi Falana, filed that case, and we did that case in Abuja, and a judgment was issued till today. Nigeria has never executed that judgment. The Attorney General of Nigeria has never executed that judgment. But Nigeria houses the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Nigeria also has a local commission for refugees. Why would they allow a foreign troops to enter their territory, enter into refugee camps, and tantalize the refugees in those camps?
That's the big question right there. Why will Nigeria, after signing in international law, first of all, Nigeria has criminally been involved in a lot of activities, kidnapping Nnamdi Kanu and bringing him into Nigeria. In fact, defiling international injunction. Nigeria does not have an extradition treaty between them and the Cameroons, and they would pick up Sisiko like a rat and impose and deport him. Should I say deport and forcefully transport him into a military cargo into Cameroon, because that was not an arrest, it was not a deportation. It was just because those two things, arrest and deportation, are illegal activities. So those were two illegalities masterminded by Nigeria and Cameroon. So it's a complex situation we find ourselves with, and it takes some diligence in the way we hope to prosecute.
We are hoping that a civilized government will come into focus in Nigeria, because Nigeria is an important country in Africa. It's our big brother. They are our neighbors, and we intend to maintain a very cordial relations with Nigeria. But what I am surprised is the Nigerian Commission for Human Rights exists. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the UNHCR, exists. Why would they allow Cameroon troops to enter, to even come near a refugee camp in Nigeria, to the extent of taking our people, arresting our people from those camps and taking them back to Cameroon for persecution?
That's the question.
In violation.
We have an enabler watching. I think this should be a Cooper. He's watching this program. I know the Coopers are not comfortable when we set out a lockdown. He calls himself Nso. It's a Cooper that I know. He doesn't even know. I would have blocked your fake account, but I choose not to, because I wanted you to enjoy the show. And since you guys, there's no content somewhere else, and you are in the diaspora purporting yourself to be in ground zero, it says Barrister Tim seems to know much about international law with respect to our struggle, yet the case is still lying in his drawer. Why? Then, Mr. Anchorman, you want to end this program without telling people in ground zero the reason of a 4-day lockdown instead of 2. Who told you about? You are not in ground zero. So I have a simple strategy on how to diagnose some of these diasporan ground zero or home front. You are a Cooper, you are a Chris Arnold's, one of Chris Arnold's fake account that has chosen to come and enjoy the show. And I respect that. I know that you guys are in for federation and for a referendum. I understand. I understand your emotions when you're trying not to have us exercise our power on the ground so that your agenda can be facilitated. I do understand. But the logic behind the 4-day lockdown is to make sure that Cameroon will have no window. Since you want me to explain it to you, not the people in the home front, because I'm excited with getting feedback. Since we announced it a few minutes ago, they're very excited about it. But since you want me to inform you and the ANSC scam, the reason is because of our military strategy. We want to make sure and to minimize the loss of lives of our people. We know Cameroon has an agenda, and I will not give you details of the military or the defense strategy, but the 4 days lockdown will hold across the national territory. And all those at the home front, from Bamenda to Buya, Kumba to Manfi, Libialem to every other part in Ambazonia, stay home from the 19th to the 22nd of May 2023. Do not make the error of coming out, because it will be fire for fire. The Ambazonia Restoration Forces do not target, they will not target civilian population, but you might just become a victim of crossfire. And since you do not want to make yourself an instrument of war, my brother, tell your family members that might be, because you are in the diaspora, you're not at the home front. And so, you are in the diaspora. I know you, and you know that I know you. So I'm telling you to tell your family members at home that they should not hearken to your advice, because that is definitely going to be a bad one for them.
That's a good one, Paddy. Yes, whoever he is not in the home front. Look, Friday and Saturday, Sunday and Monday, which is our normal country Sunday. Those are the 4 days. And I tell you, our Ambazonia Restoration Forces are ready. They are ready. And let me say this about Bamileke people living in our territory, our Basa people living in our territory, or whoever Francophone is living in our territory. If you step out, just know that you will not come back home. Especially those in Quen who are drinking Brazzaville drinks and dancing. Try us on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Try. The Ambazonia Restoration Forces are everywhere. Don't mess with our soldiers, because they are there to enforce the law of the land. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister Flo, for opting to be a part of this discussion. We will definitely have a broader partner next week, and we'll get into very important topical issues with an objective to continually educate you. Thank you, Barrister Flo. Thank you very much for being a part of us. Good night.
Thank you.
Amazonians, I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more on the lockdown. You don't want to be a victim. I'm telling you, based on information that I'm privy to, it's not going to be business as usual. You see, the leadership of the interim government right now is bent on making sure that the dignities of the days of the 2019s into 2020 will be restored, whether you like it or not. You don't want to make an error going out. You don't want to make that error. That is not an error you want to make. So it's simple. Start making arrangements today. Monday is Ghost Town. That's unfortunate. It's a traditional Ghost Town. We are not going to stop that any day soon. until freedom comes or until we are in Boya. On Tuesday, make proper plans. There will be the Amazonian Restoration Forces will only permit indiscriminate or movement, caution movement during emergencies. That is starting this Monday and the next Thursday and Friday. This is what will happen on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Stock your houses with sufficient water and food. Listen to me. You have been, don't say it's not money. It's not much. First of all, you want to talk about those who think about their businesses. You haven't talked to people and maybe some Igbos claiming about their businesses. How much do you make in Bamenda in those businesses? Is that the economy you want for your children in future? How many billionaires are in Bamenda? Let's face it. The Bulus have the money that they take from Bamenda and from Buya and from Victoria, from our own territories. How much do you have in Bamenda? Let's face it. Their business ideas. I know I have an Amazonian friend in Ghana. Within less than 6 months, he has made $2 million US in Ghana with the same business idea that he had in Bamenda in Ghana. So why are we fighting for you to come for a few days to start claiming that they want to lock you down? Listen, from the 19th into the 22nd is a lockdown. So make sure you stock your houses with sufficient food and water. Do not attempt it consciously or unconsciously to defy those days. Because once you position yourself, constitute yourself as an individual to ignore those days for any reason in the world, if you position yourself to ignore it, you have made yourself a military target. You are saying that you want to contend with the Amazonian people's will, with the people's will to be free. Because for us locking our territory and totally objecting, rejecting, and resisting any form of colonial rule, we are making a statement, both nationally and internationally. They're telling us that our argument is not sufficient. And our argument of force, for the first time in our history, is very important. Our predecessors believed the rhetoric that their legalities that was given to them by the April 21st vote was not sufficient. And so they kept on hoping that Ahidjo would provide a solution for them. That was an insult. They were writing petitions to Yaoundé and to the international community. Dr. Sako does not have time to write a petition to Yaoundé. The Agbobalas in 2016, lawyers as sound as they were, came and they were writing petitions to Yaoundé for a solution. And Yaoundé called them and slapped them and beat them up. That's how arrogant the Bulus are. You've just seen a Bulu audaciously telling you that your sisters are smelling. What arrogance. The day I meet that guy, I've planned in my mind, the day I meet him, 20 years to come, I will give him a slap first, even if he apologizes. What an insult. How do you say that? You see, the Bulus have a mindset, which if you have not been in Yaoundé, you will not even know. Let me just tell you. And to tell you why we have to lock down. I'm looking at all of you, you're calling yourself in Boya, influencers, bloggers, or some nonsense jargons you're calling yourself. And they have insulted your sisters. You seem not to see it. You cannot even protest against it. We started protesting against the journalist at Vision Card. I protested loudly against that journalist at the home front. I was not in the diaspora. I was in Yaoundé when I protested against what he was saying. And that's when my family resolved that I have to leave the country. You cannot sit there, whatever you call yourself. If you cannot do it with your face, do it with a pseudonym. At least let the voices be many. How can somebody use such demeaning words, words that are used to describe animals, to describe your sisters, and you're silent. You're busy influencing with green, red, yellow. You're crazy. There's something wrong with you. You have a green, red, yellow. You carry a green, red, yellow. The least you should do is to behave as though green, red, yellow does not exist. Because we understand you cannot hold an Amazonian flag. How can you be influencing with a green, red, yellow? Did you not see in your history that that green, red, yellow is a betrayal against your own people? That's provocation. If you have taken the site of Bia, then you can go to Yaoundé and Douala. Those places have been developed. Don't you think so? So there will be a lockdown. Do not defile it, especially those living in Victoria and in Boya. There will be a lockdown. Those 4 days will be dark days in Amazonia. You do not want to be a victim of circumstance. You have been pre-notified. We're going to send out more information to sensitize you on the need. All they're requesting from you is just to stay at home. That's all. Nothing more. Just stay at home. You have nothing you're going to lose staying for those 4 days, because even the businesses that are closed are not your businesses. You're even doing businesses and you're paying tax to France. Close to 40% of whatever you're doing, you're using it to pay taxes. I'm live on TV. Do you want to make a contribution? No. Okay. So all of it is being used to pay taxes to Yaoundé. Close those businesses for those days. Close it. And there's something the interim government has told you: stop paying taxes to Yaoundé. Don't pay it. Once you guys will stop, it is your advantage. Keep your money. Do business with Nigeria. It's even more profitable than doing business in Bafoussam or Douala. Lockdown from the 19th to the 22nd. 19 drifting into the 22nd. The entire southern Cameroon will be locked down. You have seen what has happened this week. We'll be reporting it in the news. Every single day, there is a sweet popcorn in one part. There is reinforcement like never before. What is happening? I can tell you, listen, I can only advise you. I'm not a military person, so I cannot even make a promise to you, but I can advise you. You have a right to choose. Listen to me, you have a right to choose. If you choose to sacrifice your life, Jesus already sacrificed his life for us. If you choose to put yours as a sacrificial lamb, that is your cup of tea. It is your life. But know today, write your will. Know that if you have chosen that, what you are doing, you have committed suicide, because you were told that if you do that, you will die. So you were aware, you were cognizant of the fact that that action is an action that leads to death. But you decided to do it. So you decided to commit suicide. That's okay. I understand that there are certain parts in the world now that suicide is legal. I don't know if Cameroon has voted in their parliament that is decided by Chantabia that you have the liberty to commit suicide. Whatever the situation is, you're advised to stay home. Make no mistakes about that. Stay home. Don't get out. And the ANSC will give to you numbers you can call in case of an emergency. And so clearance will be made for you to carry certain activities. Stay home. Your only instrument you have now that you have not bought for yourself weapons of self-defense or guns for your families. The Vice President has advised that every family should get an AK-47. But I'm sure you might not have had the resources to get one for your family. So since you cannot contribute with iron, just stay home. That would be a laudable contribution from you. Thank you very much. I'm not going to take much of your time again. And this argument of a referendum, we keep bringing you. I'm aware of a town hall with Tibonaj and the others, and it's one amongst many, and you should not be moved about it. It will bear no fruit. You understand? Don't be moved on things that will bear no fruit. The Indian government has sufficiently educated you, the Amazonian people, why this whole idea is a bad idea. And that's what I'll use to conclude this segment of our program today. And you had the executive assistant of the president, Professor Bridget Table, who is also a senior lecturer in the University of Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts. She will be elaborately telling us why this whole idea, it's an interlude that we've cropped from the press conference that took place on Monday, and we're bringing it back to you as a manifesto of this night. Have a good and beautiful night and enjoy your weekend. Start preparing on Tuesday to sustain the 4-day lockdown that has been declared by the president. God bless you. Good night. It's Tarh.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good morning and welcome. It is always a delight having you with us for a conversation during such critical times in our history. I am Professor Bridget Tebow from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, USA, and I'm also the Executive Assistant to the President, Federal Republic of Ambazonia. On behalf of the peoples of Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia, and its leadership under the mandate of His Excellency, Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako, I wish to thank you very much for your presence here today. You are well aware that the 6 years long war in our homeland, Southern Cameroons, that was forced upon us was based on unaddressed long-standing grievances dating back to the 1960s or the colonial era, when we peacefully requested reforms, primarily in the education and judicial sectors. The colonial government's response was brutal. Several protesters were arrested and detained. By early 2017, the peaceful agitation had morphed into an armed conflict, an existential conflict for us, given that we have the duty to ensure our existence within the community of nations of the world. The Republic of Cameroon's president, Paul Biya, has labeled us terrorists and has been disinclined to any form of honest and/or inclusive mechanism to end the war. According to him, awarding us a special status would be a way out of the carnage. And one wonders what that special status really means. You are also aware that the Republic of Cameroon boycotted the Swiss-led mediation after pretending to be a party of it for over 2 years. Most recently, they deceived some individuals within our community and the Canadian government on pre-talks, only to turn around and deny their own participation at the said talks. Our people on the ground remain the victims. La République du Cameroun forces of occupation have continued indiscriminate arrests, killings, torture of civilians, and razing or burning down whole villages. Impunity remains the order of the day, encouraging the abusers, fueling further violence and harm, and prolonging the conflict. Human rights reports, UN High Commissioner for Refugees, and other NGOs have consciously reported, I might add, with great underestimation of the overall collateral damage More than 45,000 of our people have been wasted, to say the least. More than 2 million displaced. Even as we speak, some have recently died in the oceans of Antigua while trying to escape from that war. And we wonder why the media mostly reported without seriousness. Unfortunately, this onslaught of genocidal proportions somehow remains one of the highly underreported wars in recent times. As for the reasons for this silence, your guess is as good as mine. French Cameroon's rhetoric, which has engulfed mainstream media, has been very unfair. The gimmick is to misinform, disinform, and manipulate. One of such that we have identified is the question of a referendum proposed as a way to end the conflict. And that will be our main focus for today. The interim government's position on the issue of a referendum is as follows. To all Ambazonians and internal and external stakeholders, there are divergent views and proposals among stakeholders, both international and externally, on how to resolve the ongoing conflict in southern Cameroon's, aka Ambazonia, that has resulted in an unprecedented 21st century genocide perpetrated by the Biya regime of the Republic of Cameroon, or La République du Cameroun. Among these divergent views is a proposal for a referendum to be held in the territory of southern Cameroon's former UN Trust territory under the United Kingdom administration, in order to determine the future of southern Cameroon's, aka Ambazonia. Cognizant of UN General Assembly Resolution 1608, paragraph 25 of the 21st April 1961, granting independence to the UN Trust territory of southern Cameroons, and the subsequent non-execution of all the processes of decolonization prescribed therein. The interim government, representing the aspirations of an overwhelming majority of Ambazonians, has been clear and consistent in articulating the basis of the root causes of the southern Cameroon's problems, which is the non-execution in its entirety of the above-mentioned UN resolution, thus paving the way for the annexation and recolonization of southern Cameroon by La République du Cameroun in 1961. Therefore, complete decolonization is what we seek. And this involves complete restoration, absolute sovereignty, and recognition of southern Cameroon's, aka Ambazonia, as the 55th state of Africa. We believe a plebiscite, a non-binding survey of our opinions by the United Nations, is an acceptable democratic process to ascertain the majority view of southern Cameroonians or Ambazonians since the last plebiscite of 1961. If there is any doubt about the majority's position, we object to any proposed referendum on grounds that it presupposes falsely that southern Cameroon is a part of La République du Cameroun and is seeking to secede as an independent country. We were granted independence in 1961. It was only the joining that did not take place legally, and the Republic of Cameroon withdrew from that union project in 1984 when they reverted to their original name prior to 19 1961. We have never been part of the Republic of Cameroon, so we do not need a referendum to decide if we can separate from a non-existing union. Also, a binding referendum will exclude the genuine dialogue we need to address the root causes of the conflict, because it is based on winner takes all. We are not fighting to change the form of government in the Republic of Cameroon or La République du Cameroun. We are not also fighting for constitutional changes within the Republic of Cameroon or French Cameroon. We are fighting against annexation and recolonization. We are defending our restored independence. Annexation cannot be resolved through a referendum because it is either a right or wrong issue, just as the solution for rape is not marriage. No, we do not need a referendum to tell right from wrong. We need the international justice system activated properly or negotiated settlement without preconditions. You are aware that after World War I, British Southern Cameroons, as well as French Cameroon, became a League of Nations mandate. From 1922 to 1945, they both became mandated territories. This historical background is essential to understand why we are here today. After 1945, both mandated territories became trusteeship territories under the United Nations, as stipulated in Chapter 12 and 13 of the United Nations Charter. The trusteeship system dealt with the supervision of non-self-governing states designated as trust territories. And that was what we were, a trust territory. The basic objective of the ITS, International Trusteeship System, as declared by Article 76 of the UN Charter, was the promotion of the political, economic, social, and educational advancement of inhabitants in the trust territories and progressive development towards self-government. The trusteeship agreement, which brought British Cameroons under the ITS, was approved on 13th December 1946. The UN, having recognized Southern Cameroon's sovereignty, didn't give a referendum at that time. Rather, they gave the peoples of Southern Cameroons a plebiscite. A plebiscite is a consultation of opinion. It wasn't a referendum. It wasn't law. If the UN thought we were not autonomous, but just a tiny part of La République du Cameroun, they would have, at that time, given us a referendum. During that plebiscite, given the limited choice available to British Southern Cameroons, they entered into a trial relationship of a federation of two states of equal status, because French Cameroon got its independence on 1st January 1960, while British Southern Cameroons got her independence on October 1st, 1961. If that is not proof that we are two separate states, I don't know what else can demonstrate that. A plebiscite presupposes that we are two different people seeking to establish our sovereignty. Note that Article 47 of the Federal Constitution between these two states of equal status provided that the federal form of the state shall never be adulterated or changed. And that is exactly where the problem is. In 1972, the French Cameroon unilaterally organized a referendum with one ballot option, oui and yes, which means the exact same thing. For those who don't understand French, oui means yes. Not only was it a one ballot option, French Cameroon was invited to participate. Imagine the British trying to exit from the European Union and every European nation invited to participate in Brexit. That is not possible, but that is what happened. And this explains why we say the entire process from the get-go was fraudulent and flawed. If the UN wants to serve the majority opinion on this issue, they should conduct another non-binding plebiscite in the Southern Cameroons, not a referendum. This is the threshold position of the people we represent. Therefore, any views or proposals that seek to mask the status quo of Southern Cameroon's colonial status under the Republic of Cameroon is far-reaching and do not represent the aspirations of the overwhelming majority of Ambazonians or Southern Cameroonians as far as this liberation struggle is concerned. Furthermore, the reasonable immediate way forward to end this conflict, supported by the international community and external stakeholders, is a genuine, all-inclusive dialogue or mediated negotiations process without preconditions. The interim government, under my leadership, has advocated for the process, which was spearheaded by the Swiss, but the Republic of Cameroon failed to commit to concretely resolve this conflict, therefore, and subsequently resolve the issue of the sovereignty of Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia, once and for all. Another plebiscite, preceded by internationally mediated negotiations, should be the right steps forward. At this juncture, let me take my leave so that the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia can attend to your needs as the press. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you in advance, Mr. President, for taking the time to do this.
Our vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real war horse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian/African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tarh Paddy, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG, and People of Ambazonia's position. The Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASC. Health is Wealth, Health Education and Awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation Prayer, an intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our Freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. church and politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Amazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Amazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Amazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Emerging Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: cash www.abcambertv.com/subscribe. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Amazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/